Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On the day Raila Odinga nominated Martha Karua as his running mate for the 2022 general election, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka was also unveiling Andrew Sunkuli as his running mate for the same election. The truth of the matter is that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka was not happy by the fact that Raila Odinga had settled on Martha Karua. So to get to Raila Odinga, he decided to also contest for the presidency. But I remember opining on this platform that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka had only one option. The option of returning to Raila Amolo Odinga. Then after that announcement, Kalonzo Musyoka took a break from politics. I think it was 1 week break. We would just see Kalonzo Musyoka in his farms in Yatta, looking after his cattle, tending to his vegetables. Then Kalonzo Musyoka went outside the country to Europe. When he went there, at the same time the president was also in Europe. So many Kenyans started speculating that ultimately Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka was going to come back to Azimio after you know what. When he came back, it was clear that Gideon Moi was ensuring that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka was going to stay in Azimio. So yesterday, Kalonzo Musyoka made a comeback to Azimio.
After deep introspection, I've today deferred my dream to run for the President of the Republic of Kenya in the forthcoming general election. I've decided to accept with humility and appreciation my nomination as the Chief Minister in the Azimio One Kenya.
Tulikuwa na bagi namba 10, namba 11. Sasa tuko hapa na Gideon Moi namba 10 na Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka namba 11. Hiyo timu ya Azimio. Timu ya sasa timu ya Azimio sasa imekuwa full team. Tuko tayari sasa kwenda kupigana na wale timu ya Kenya kwisha.
Mimi nimerudi kucheza position 11. Mimi ndio Messi. Kipindi ni kipindi cha lala salama. Sina mna hiyo. Nilikuwa tu napumzika. Baba alikuwa ameniweka spare. Sasa kipindi cha lala salama nitampigia ndugu Raila position number 9. Yeye atascore immediately na Kenya hii itakuwa sawa sawa.
Vile tunacheza haijaonekana. Si hata Barcelona, si Real Madrid, si Man City, si Arsenal, si Liverpool, si Man U. Hili yote combined.
Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, my brother, we are very happy today. Sasa tuko njia moja ya kwenda tutengeneza ile serikali tulitengeneza 2002 na tukasema we are unbogable. Sasa tumerudi huko tena.
Sasa huko Ukambani, ukiwa na timu Kalonzo, ukiwa na timu Kibwana, Ngilu akiwa ameshika kina mama, kila kitu ni sawa.
In this video, I want us to look at Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka's return to Azimio. Before we do that, in case you are watching the channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue. Thank you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Now, let us get back to the main issue. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka yesterday made a comeback to Azimio One Kenya Alliance. And one thing was clear during that event. The two UKAMBANI governors, that is Governor Professor Kibwana and Charity Ngilu, were present. And Raila Odinga paraded the two before Kenyans. The choice of the venue was also telling. The choice of the venue was actually in Embakasi South, towards the area which is predominantly the Kamba nation. But for me, I think Kalonzo Musyoka committed mistakes, and it will take him time to recover. Those who support Kalonzo Musyoka believes that by Kalonzo Musyoka joining Azimio, he's proved to be a tough negotiator, because after all, he will now have the position of the chief cabinet secretary. Then he will also have 4 cabinet secretaries with portfolios. Then they're also saying that Kalonzo Musyoka applied the art of timing in politics, because he made it at a time when now everybody was looking for him. According to Kalonzo Musyoka, William Ruto was calling him almost every day, in the morning, lunchtime, evening, and before he goes to bed. So they are saying that Kalonzo Musyoka is a student of politics, and therefore the art of timing was crucial for him. But for me, because in this video I want us to look at the whole objective of Kalonzo Musyoka's return to Azimio. But for me, as an individual, if you ask me, number one, Kalonzo Musyoka has now damaged himself more. Why? Kalonzo Musyoka is now coming out as someone who is indecisive. You know, a leader should be a leader. A leader should not be controlled by other factors. There were strong feelings within the political circles that Kalonzo Musyoka was undecided because of being hostage to a clique of his supporters, especially from the UKAMBANI region. So in my view, Kalonzo Musyoka coming to Azimio, this time in point, has damaged him. Of course, he has achieved his objectives, but politically, Kenyans are now like, who is this guy? You know, you can talk of Kalonzo Musyoka joining Azimio, leaving, joining, leaving, So in my view, it has dented his image as a national leader. Number two, it has also given room to William Ruto to penetrate the UKAMBANI. You see, there's a time now, after Raila Odinga nominated Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka said, okay, he's not going to join Azimio. He allowed his people to attack Raila Odinga. That gave room for Ruto to penetrate. In fact, William Ruto was in UKAMBANI yesterday, and I listened to the speeches, and it was clear that they're saying that Kalonzo Musyoka has been forced. So there are even people in UKAMBANI region who are supporting Kalonzo Musyoka, but now they are not very happy because of the way Kalonzo Musyoka has behaved. So he has given room for Ruto to penetrate, because if he had taken up this position that time, then I'm sure his supporters would have easily followed him. Now he was giving different signals. Number three is also the question of 2022. Of course, if you were keenly following my channel, I once opined that the main reason why Gideon Moi and Kalonzo Musyoka were not keen on Karua is because of the 2022 politics. Raila Odinga is supposed to serve one term, which is Mandela's moment. Then Raila Odinga will not be in the equation. So there were going to be the Kikuyu factor, the Luo factor, or even the ODM factor. So who was going to inherit this strong support base of Raila Odinga? That was the question. And Kalonzo Musyoka was emerging. Personally, I've always told you on this platform that I have a soft spot for Kalonzo, but the way he has behaved, I don't see him now as a serious leader. So which means majority of Raila Odinga supporters who are previously supportive of him nowadays are not very excited about him. In fact, at some point they were like, Kalonzo Sirudi, that kind of things. Number four, if you look at the whole situation, then you ask yourself, why couldn't he just take this position when it was announced? Because the position which was offered to Kalonzo is the position of the chief cabinet secretary. That chief cabinet secretary is the same one he declined 2 weeks ago and accepted today. So what was the need of waiting for 2 weeks, putting the country, people waiting for him? He's posting photos of himself after his cows, going to Europe. Most people now believe that he went there to be bribed, So what was so difficult in him accepting that position instead of even going ahead to unveil a presidential candidate? And lastly, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is now coming out as a Kamba leader. just like Musalia Mudavadi and Weta, but you see, for Musalia Mudavadi and Weta, you can understand them. Their role in Kenya Kwanza is for the Luhya votes. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who is a national leader, is now coming out as a Kamba leader. You know, everything he was negotiating for, the statements his team were making were about the UKAMBANI region. Of course, Raila Odinga is interested in the UKAMBANI votes, but Kalonzo Musyoka has been a national leader, now turning out to be a Kamba leader. But let us not get into all those. Let us focus on the objective. Because from all indications, President Uhuru Kenyatta was keen on ensuring that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka stays in Azimio. And that was the primary role of Gideon Moi. Gideon Moi, when Raila Odinga's presidency will be documented, the role of Gideon Moi in keeping Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka in Azimio will cover enough space. So what was the objective? Uhuru was keen. At some point, Raila gave hope, but his supporters were like, you must get Kalonzo Musyoka. William Ruto and his brigades were like, if Kalonzo fails to join Raila Odinga, even if he were to run, then Raila Odinga was not going to get the UKAMBANI votes. But what was the real objective of Kalonzo Musyoka's re-entry into Azimio? Number one, the main objective is basically to lock Ruto out of the UKAMBANI region. That's the fact. If you look at the figures, because numbers don't lie, if you look at the figures of the last election, it was clear that UKAMBANI region rejected Jubilee fully. In that election, people like Alfred Mutua were with Uhuru Kenyatta. But this time around, we are going into this election with Raila Odinga being supported by Kalonzo Musyoka, Charity Ngilu, and the rest fully, just like last time, which means, and those who supported Uhuru are also split. There are those who have joined Raila now. It means Ruto is going to be locked out of UKAMBANI politics. That was the main objective. Kalonzo Musyoka commands close to 2 million voters or votes. Those 2 million votes, if you allowed Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka out of Azimio, where were those votes going to go to? They were either going to cast them for Kalonzo, a rerun occasioned, or some of them are going to go to Ruto. So by now consolidating those support, I think Uhuru and Raila have locked Ruto out of UKAMBANI.
Napenda leo kumshukuru kiongozi wa Wiper bwana Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka kwa kutoa uamuzi na mwelekezo ya kwamba jamii yote na wafuasi wake na chama cha Wiper wamerudi Azimio One Kenya Alliance, na tunashukuru sana kwamba baada ya majadiliano, mazungumzo marefu, ameona ni vizuri tuingie huo upande ndio tuweze kutengeneza serikali pamoja. Kwa hivyo ningependa kuomba wafuasi wote na watu wote wa Eastern Region na watu wote wa Wiper tuweze kufanya kazi na wapati leader ili tutengeneze serikali.
Ameona this country is bigger than individual, na akaona ni vizuri arudi Azimio, na tungependa kumpongeza sana kwa sababu tutaonekana sisi kama jamii ya Wakamba tutakuwa katika serikali. Kwa hivyo tunataka kumpongeza sana na nimwambie congratulations, na akuja apige siasa vizuri kuhakikisha kwamba baba amechukua usukani.
Ili wazo Kalonzo amekuja nayo ya kurudi kwa Azimio, kwa ufupi naweza sema ni wazo poa, ni wazo yenye itatuleta katika serikali, inaonekana ndio serikali inakuja. Sasa swali letu kubwa lilikuwa kama angepotea, si hata sisi tungepotea.
Number 2 is Nairobi politics. You see, there's a small element of Nairobi in Kenyan politics. Nairobi's economy is big. So I opined on this platform that Nairobi was going to be discussed on the negotiating table. Kalonzo Musyoka negotiated for Nairobi deputy governor, which is going to get. Jubilee is going to get the governor of Nairobi, because there's no way Jubilee Raila can become president without Uhuru having Nairobi. Then to check on the governor, ODM is going to produce the speaker of the National Assembly, of the County Assembly of Nairobi. If Kalonzo Musyoka was not going to be with Raila Odinga, the Kamba population in Nairobi, where were they going to go to? So that's something which bothered Uhuru and it bothered Raila, because they were going to actually tilt the equation. I can now assure you that with the Kalonzo Musyoka, means Kambas will be voting for Igathe, Luos will be voting for Igathe, the Luya nation will split, then the Kikuyu will vote for Igathe. Tell me how Sakaja is going to win. Just show me the maths. But if the Kambas were not going to be in Azimio, then someone like Sakaja would easily penetrate the UKAMBANI voting bloc in Nairobi. So Nairobi politics was at the center of these negotiations. Number 3 is what I normally refer to as perceptional value. You see, even Tanga and Kenya Kwanza were very clear that without Kalonzo Musyoka, Raila Odinga was not going to be the president. Now Kalonzo is with Raila. Is he now going to be the president? You see, politics is a game of perception. And if Kalonzo had left, a perception was going to be created that already Raila Odinga has lost the entire NASA voting bloc because of Kalonzo, Weta, Mudavadi. But for Mudavadi and Weta, you can say that they are going to compete with Raila. Raila is not going to lose entire Western just because of the fact that Kalonzo Mudavadi left and Weta left. But for UKAMBANI, it was going to be tricky for him. So now there's this perception that at least the UKAMBANI region is now with Raila Odinga. You add UKAMBANI, you add 30% of the Kikuyu nation, you add Raila Odinga's traditional support base, done. And number 4, which is my last point, the main reason why Kalonzo had to be brought to Azimio through any other means possible was for a round 1 victory. If Kalonzo had contested for the presidency, there was a chance, high likely, that a rerun was going to be occasioned. Either Ruto winning slightly, then a rerun. A rerun where Kalonzo was a presidential candidate and Raila was a presidential candidate and Ruto is a presidential candidate, you can't tell where the Kambas were going to vote. So to avoid rerun, ensure that the Kamba voting bloc are brought to Azimio. That's exactly what Uhuru has done, and that's exactly what was the role of Gideon Moi. I don't know what you think, but for me, that's my take. Do you think Kalonzo Musyoka's move to rejoin Azimio is significant politically speaking? I want to hear your comment on that. Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day. Bye-bye.